Representative Luna, welcome to the show.
Very happy to be here.
Excellent, excellent. What do you make of this idea that, like, basically now the society is, because it's seen as oppressed, has fewer rights than the people who are claiming that they are oppressed?
I mean, the fact is that this guy is obviously monetizing his platform on harassing normal citizens, but it's crazy because this doesn't just stop in the culture war. It's bleeding over, and we see it every day in politics. And every single day we hear people that say, you know, the most marginalized community when we are born in the greatest country in the world is seeming to struggle the most. Yet if you put in the hard work and effort, you can accomplish anything. So I'm not surprised. It's frustrating, but someone like this, I mean, obviously the guy's a criminal and he's clearly harassing people.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. A majority of Americans with the national income, they can't afford brand new electric vehicles, and they're just like, you just need to finance it and deal with it.
Right.
Like, you can't do that. You can't force people to do that.
Even if you made
I think it's realistic to say that she's very likely very liberal.
Yeah.
But more importantly, you know what's crazy to me is here in New York, you can't even have mace or a taser for fear that someone attacking you might have a heart condition and you could hurt that person.
Right.
So the fact that this person had a machete is not going to get prosecuted for it. And by the way, your guys' DA is terrible. Terrible DA.
Yeah.
We can talk about that on a different segment. But nonetheless, I mean, clearly, humanities maybe?
Yeah. It's, you know,
so that was half the cost of what it cost the American taxpayers to really look into the Russia investigation, which is in total $32 million. And so ultimately, Schiff used his position, of which he was privy to information that not even other members of Congress have, because he was in charge of House Intelligence Committee. He fundraised off it. He used his position. And he's ultimately responsible for what I would say everyone watching the show knows, that families were ripped apart by this lie. And so he should be held accountable. And as a representative, we are not only able to do that, but it hasn't, to my knowledge, been done before, where someone's been fined that amount. And so I look forward to being the first and bringing this against them.
Is there a chance? Don't raise our hopes. I hate getting my hopes raised and then dashed. Like, remember when you took me to the fair?
Yeah, I made a deal and they were supposed to keep you.
Yes. But is this going to happen?
So this is something called a privilege resolution, meaning that when I go back from recess, we are going to be calling this to the floor, and ultimately it will be up to the Republican House on whether or not they vote to actually censure him and fine him. So if you're watching this, I would highly advise you calling your representative and making your voices heard, because I am bringing this vote to the floor, and he should be held accountable.
Yeah.
We're wondering, is that going to be something that he can personally pay for? He might be able to personally pay for it, but he currently has over $20 million for his Senate campaign, and to my understanding, he can make that payment of that fine from his Senate campaign. So if you fundraise off of it, buddy, guess what? You're paying up. And I was actually playing this video in Uber, and the Uber driver started looking at me like, please make it stop. So, you know, when normal people see this, I think that they really much so understand that there's clearly an issue. But what's crazy to me is that this bill had nothing to do with trans adults. It had to do with protecting children.
Yeah.
And so when you see them starting to go for kids, it's like, what kind of weirdo are you? Like, leave the kids alone. Just hands off.